Welcome back to In Ohio Country today, and joining me now is Congressman Jim Jordan. Jim, nice to have you back on our program.
Always good to be with you.
We're here in Wapakoneta in front of the Neil Armstrong Air and Space Museum, and how cool is that? You know, the Space Museum has done some wonderful things since the anniversary, and you had a chance to take a tour. Why don't you give us a quick recap of that?
I mean, 50 years since that historic day. And then, of course, our state is just rich in. We were just talking about. You think about it from 1903, the Wright brothers, Ohioans. Right. They're first to take off, fly, and land motorized flight. First to do it. Then it was 66 years later. I mean, think about it. One lifetime. You go from two guys flying 100 feet to putting another Ohio, another great American. Yeah. On the moon, and everything that happened in between with Chuck Yeager breaking the sound barrier in 47, John Glenn orbiting the Earth in 62. It's just a rich heritage in all those Ohioans. I mean, the Wright brothers, Glenn, Armstrong, and then Yeager's just next door. He's just a country boy from West Virginia who was this amazing test pilot. So fascinating history, and of course to see it all in here is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great showcase and a great opportunity to learn a little bit about Ohio history when it comes to air and space. And our good friend Dante, the curator here, bring the family. It's always a good time to come.
They do a great job.
Jim, let's talk about some of the ag businesses that you've seen. You've been on a lot of farms recently. What are you hearing from our farmers?
Well, first of all, the crops look good. Yeah. I mean, it's like, the corn looks great in so many areas. We were in Logan County the other day, and we've been all over the district the last week or two. The corn and bean looks good. Prices are pretty good, but they all tell me the cost of inputs and of course the cost of diesel. I mean, just like this is intentional though from the Biden administration. They're so committed to this crazy left agenda that they are intentionally driving up the cost of energy, which impacts everything and is one of the key reasons we have a 41-year high inflation rate. So, that's what I'm hearing. But in spite of that, folks in agriculture are great families who work hard, and they're doing a great job.
Well, we talk about that domino effect. It's important for us to educate the general public out there that those input costs are what drive it for the farmer. It's not only cutting into their profits, but it's also adding to the cost of doing business, which adds to the cost down the line, whether it's the delivery of those foods and goods and services to the general consumer or what. But energy plays a major role in that.
Yeah, and I'm so sick of these folks in Washington who put these policies in place. And I always say in Ohio, we make things, grow things, and move things. You can't, and when you're in construction, manufacturing, agriculture, trucking, you can't remote work. You can't zoom it in. You got to go to work. Like the farmer can't zoom in the crops. He has to actually go out and put the crops on the ground, and then he's got to harvest them, and he's got to do everything you do to help us with our food. I get so frustrated with that. But you're right. The cost of we talk about fertilizer, we talk about diesel. I mean, all the costs, the inputs to do their job and to feed the country and feed the world. And that's where it gets serious. You're seeing some issues within the Netherlands with what they're doing to agriculture over there, and the farmers have had enough of it. And but these left-wing crazy policies are not good for middle-class families, not good for the country, frankly, not good for the world.
Here in the Buckeye State, we're peppered with windmills, especially up here in Northwest Ohio, solar. I know I've heard you say that you're an all of the above energy supporter. So let's talk about that we have to make sure that there's some balance there, but it has to be done in a way that it doesn't affect the bottom line for consumers too, right?
No kidding. Yeah. This animosity that the left has to oil, gas, and coal is ridiculous, and it's resulting in the price of fuel going up, which, as we just said, drives up the cost of everything else because it takes energy to produce things, and it takes energy, gas and diesel, to move things in the trucking industry. And yet, when they drive up the cost of that, it's going to drive up the cost of everything else, and we are feeling it. We now have a 41-year high inflation rate. I said to someone the other day that this sounds partisan, but it's true. This administration's done everything wrong. We went from a secure border to no border. We went from $2 gas to record prices for energy. We went from safe streets to record levels of crime in every major urban area. And we went from stable prices to a 41-year high inflation rate. All of it, I think, done intentionally because they bought into this crazy left-wing agenda.
You know, Jim, we have to talk about the environment when we talk about our agricultural community. Here in Ohio, of course, the H2 Ohio program. So what are you seeing out there? I mean, you're in touch with our ag community. They're good stewards of the land, right?
Of course, because that's their livelihood. They have all the interest and reason in the world to be good stewards, because that's how they produce the food. That's how they make their living. That's how they feed their family. And then, frankly, that's how they feed all of us and feed the world. So, of course, they're going to do that. It's the same with hunters and fishermen. They're the best stewards of the environment because they like to hunt and fish. They don't want to destroy the environment. They want a great environment. So, but the left with their agenda, they just don't get common sense and get the facts. But the good news is most of the country has common sense. Most of the country gets it, and they understand what's going on.
And finally, you know, we talk about migrant workers. We're all over the Buckeye State with our television show. We get the opportunity to visit and learn from some of our farmers and our producers out there who hire legal immigration. How important is that? So we always talk about the mess that the border is, but there is some positivity to migrant workers here in the Buckeye State.
Yeah, the key is legal, right? There's a big difference between illegal and legal, and the country understands it, but this administration doesn't, because we have now set a record month after month after month of illegal migrants entering the country, and it's intentional, it's deliberate, it's premeditated, which is frightening that our own government is doing this to the country, and it's particularly bad for the states on the border. But frankly, it's a concern for everyone, because, as someone has said, every state is now a border state, because you have people who are being bused and flown to all parts of the country, and they're here illegally, and it's a stress on the healthcare system, the school systems, and on to go. So that's the concern. We want to welcome people to come here, but they got to come for the right reasons, and they got to come legally.
One of the important things I think we need to address too is trade. I know that you're hearing a lot from the ag community regarding trade. So what are some of the topics there, and the importance of making sure we have the right people doing the right things internationally so our farmers and our ag community can continue to be profitable?
Yeah, you want to be able to, look, we all understand you want to be able to market your products in as many places as possible. That's good for business. But we also understand that places like China, where they don't adhere to international trade norms, where they steal intellectual property, that you have to deal with them. And no one did it better than President Trump. Unfortunately, this administration, I think, is projecting weakness from the Oval Office, and that impacts us in a host of ways, certainly in respect for trade norms and all, but also we are seeing in what happened in Ukraine. I mean, project weakness, bad guys do bad things, and that's, I think, one of the key reasons you saw Putin and Russia do what they did with Ukraine, which is as wrong as it gets. So Mike Pompeo got asked a great question several months ago when Russia first went into Ukraine. He was asked doing an interview. He said, "Mr. Secretary, would this have happened if President Trump was president?" And former Secretary Pompeo, gave a great answer. He says, "Well, the short answer is I don't know, but I do know this: it didn't happen when President Trump was in the Oval Office," and that says it all. I mean, that says it all. So that's the problem here too, is you have to project strong leadership to get in place the kind of trade policies and foreign policy that makes the world a safer and better place.
Well, being from a wrestling high school like you, we used to have a saying over at St. Ed's on the wall that said, "The quality of a man's life is directly proportional to his commitment to excellence." And I think, Jim Jordan, you parallel that perfectly, and I hope that you continue to be committed to excellence in our country, and especially here for the people you represent in the 4th District in the Buckeye State. Jim Jordan has been our guest. Jim, thanks for joining us.
You bet. Thank you.
And we'll have a link to his website and his congressional site as well at inohiocountry.com. We'll be back with more right after this.
Our farm department is committed to providing ag professionals the products, coverages, and peace of mind needed to run a successful operation. With our home office located in the heart of farm country, many of us have first-hand experience when it comes to farming, and we know how to take out the risk. Under one policy, we can provide total protection of your investment, from your home and barns to your equipment and livestock. We also provide an outstanding equine coverage from a homeowner with a single horse to a professional breeder and everything in between. Come join us and experience the Salina difference.
Get more. The all-new FD2 gives you more of everything you need for harvesting performance from the company that brought you the original Flex Draper. High volume, heads first feeding. Cut cleaner, cut faster, cut more. A ground-following dream. MacDon's legendary ground-following ability continues with the FD2.
Stop by your local Apple Farm Service to learn more. Click here to learn more.
Closed captioning paid for in part by the following. Dye Real Estate and Land Company specializes in farmland and recreational land throughout Ohio. A company for people who enjoy the rural lifestyle and looking to buy or sell their land. All of our land agents are members of the Realtors Land Institute and have extensive experience in farming and agricultural land business. At Dye Real Estate and Land Company, we'll work with you to tailor-fit a plan that works best for you, your family, and your investments. Our services include 1031 tax-deferred exchanges, land brokerage, land auctions, and CMAs and valuations for estates and planning. We are Dye Real Estate and Land Company. Call us today and visit our website at dyerealestate.com. Dye Real Estate and Land Company. We know the land business because we live it every day. Rodock and Midway Trailers are Ohio's premier Thunder Creek dealers for fuel trailers and DEF delivery systems. Thunder Creek offers versatile, reliable, and best of all, legal transportation and handling for fuel and DEF systems. Let us know how our teams at Midway Trailers in Rodock can get you set up and ready any time of the year. For fuel and service trailers, economy trailers, service and lube trailers, double wall trailers, split tank trailers, bulk DEF trailers, and standalone DEF systems for trucks. Remember Rodock and Midway Trailers, Ohio's premier Thunder Creek dealer, with 3 locations to serve you in Delphus, St. Mary's, and Dayton.
When you're ready to upgrade your auger, look no further than your local Apple Farm Service. Pick the industry-leading Mayrath Swingaway or Top Drive auger with sizes from 6 to 13-inch diameters or 19.5 to 94 feet long. Stop by to learn more.
Welcome back to Ohio Country today. In front of the Covington location of Apple Farm Service, I'm Big Dan Wilson alongside of Kent Holmes, Marketing Manager for Apple Farm Service. Planting cover crops are important to our farmers out there more and more every year, and you guys can help them get that job done, right?
Yeah, most of you might probably know Apple Farm Service. We can sell you a new grain drill. We can sell you a new piece of equipment to be able to go out and plant the cover crops. But for those of you that maybe might not have enough acres justify buying a big piece of equipment just for the cover crops, but you want something, you want to try out cover crops, one option we can do is we do have a lineup of small to medium-sized drills and overseeders that you can rent from us to go out and make sure that you put in what you need for your cover crops.
Yeah, how cool is that from an investment standpoint? You don't necessarily have to buy it, but when you want to try it, you could do it at Apple Farm Service.
Yeah, so we carry a lineup of Land Pride. We have Great Plains that you can go out there, Brilliant as well, that you can rent from us, different sizes from as small as 4 feet all the way up to about 10 to 12 feet. You can go out. We have different seeders, whether you want to overseed, whether you want to just plant straight in. We have quite a few options between all the locations. You can call in and learn about all the different kinds that we have, but go out there, and it's a first come, first serve. So if you're interested, you might want to go ahead and call and kind of get your name on the list. And then it also comes by what time of the year, whether you're going to be taking out here right after you take the crops off, whether you want to wait a little bit, whether you're going to wait till you do, if you are going to do any fall tillage and then go into it, which most guys with cover crops, you just go right on top after they harvest. But we do have solutions here that you can rent from us if you don't have enough acres, or investment-wise, you're just not quite ready yet to go out and buy a new piece of equipment just for your cover crops. We sell Woods, Great Plains, Land Pride, and some other companies that have drills. When it comes to rental, what we have on our rental fleet is we have Great Plains, we have Land Pride, and we have Brilliant. is what we have available. So it's a good chance too if you're looking at maybe buying one, but you're not quite sure about it, if you want to rent it, and then that, get your name on one and be able to get one. So that way you don't have to worry about being put on a list for that next year. You can use it whenever you want. It's a good opportunity to do that too.
So for more information, where do they go?
Sure. They can go to applefarmservice.com or applefarmservice.com/cedar. Or if they just want to call in, you can call in. We have the rates on our website on that applefarmservice.com/cedar. You can learn. And you can also call in at any location. If you want to rent a cedar, you can just call in any location, just connect over to the service department, and the service will take care of you.
And probably the other thing we need to add to Apple Farm Service is convenience, because you just mentioned that it's very convenient to use your website for a number of different reasons. And this is just another example of the service and the convenience you get from Apple Farm Service. Check them out on the web at applefarmservice.com, or check us out on the web at inohiocountry.com. We'll have a link to their website as well. Ken, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the time.
And we'll be back with more In Ohio Country today right after this.
From the company that taught us to mow with attitude comes the new line of Bad Boy tractors, available at your local Apple Farm Service. Heavy-duty construction, easy-to-use operation, and everyday reliability, all with the value pricing you deserve. That's the Bad Boy way. Available exclusively at your local Apple Farm Service. 6 models from 22 to 35 horsepower with standard features like hydrostatic transmission, quick attach front loaders, cruise control, and more. Visit applefarmservice.com/badboy to learn more. St. Mary's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has award-winning vehicles for both on and off the farm, and our Ag Pack incentives give you a powerful package of farm and ranch discounts and incentives worth thousands of dollars absolutely free. Stop by and see Dave Hager today, your Ag Commercial Specialist, and ask about the vehicles, discounts, and incentives in the St. Mary's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Ag Pack.
You get straight talk, real service, and the right price. St. Mary's Chrysler, you get straight talk.
Welcome back to In Ohio Country today. Just want to remind you, if you go to our website at inohiocountry.com, you'll not only have a link to our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, but also our podcasts. Take the time to check them out at your convenience. We have a great opportunity to interview various people on our television show a little bit more at length, and I think you'll enjoy it. Also want to remind you that if you go to your favorite podcast page, like Spotify or iTunes, even Google, all you have to do is type in Ohio Country today, and you'll go right to our podcast page. Once again, that's inohiocountry.com. We'll be back with more right after this.
Your outdoor fun starts here at Dad's Toy Shop. See us today for all of your favorite remote control land, air, and watercraft, and so much more. Dad's Toy Shop in downtown Wapakoneta is your one-stop shop for all of your hobby needs. Alan Davis, business owner, active farmer. No one knows farmers' needs better than Alan. Give him a call today at 419-738-7447 and talk about total farm protection and more. Alan Davis Insurance Agency is your solutions provider for auto, home, life, business, recreational, total farm protection, and more. Call 419-738-7447. That's 419-738-7447.
Welcome back to In Ohio Country Today. I'm Denver Davis, and with me now is Ray Archuleta. We're in Archibald, Ohio for the Farmer to Farmer Advocate Program, and Ray was a guest speaker with us today. Ray, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My career started with NRCS. I used to be an agronomist, a water quality specialist, and I ended my career as a soil health specialist. And so I put 30 years in with the agency, and I taught people regenerative agriculture. That's what I did for the last, my 30 years in the career in NRCS.
Ray, why don't you explain regenerative agriculture for us, for our audience?
I tell you, there's a lot of people have all kinds of definitions for regenerative agriculture. My definition of regenerative agriculture is pretty simple. How do you emulate intelligent design? Regenerative agriculture comes from the word renewal, to regenerate, to tap into that life source. And a lot of times I'll use people in the audience. I'll pick a man from the audience and say, hey, ma'am, how would you feel married to that guy? It's sustainable, and people start to laugh. But what if I said, ma'am, how does it feel to be married to that man? Oh my God, it's regenerative, it's renewing, it's always getting better, it's life. Regenerative agriculture It's tapping into the power of life, how to mimic nature. That's what regenerative agriculture is. What I learned in college, and like I think most farmers learned, how do we control nature? How do we force it? How do we get yield? I was taught I got to get up every morning and see what I have to kill because nature's against me. What regenerative agriculture teaches, what can I make alive? How can I mimic the natural system? And what those demonstrations do shows us what we are doing to our soils. What is happening is when we have excessive tillage, excessive herbicides, fungicides, chemicals, those are hurting our soils. It's diminishing the life in the soil. And so what those demonstrations do is really connect with the producer, and it shows them it is important how we till, how we use these chemicals, what we're doing with our fertilizers. The soils are alive. That's what I love about the demonstrations. And it's one of the most difficult things to teach people. The soil is alive, just like you. It breathes, it reproduces, it breathes air, and it respires CO2. It's alive. And I tell farmers, if you don't understand that it's alive, I can't help you. Number one issue with producers, they do not believe their soil is alive. They think it's dirt. And the demonstrations show it's alive. There's a term called agroecology. What does that mean? Agro, part of the system, ecology. Ecology is the natural system. It's the planet. It's the study of the earth. What I'm teaching people is how do we infuse more ecology into our agro ecosystems? And the reason I start off with the term death by tools, because of our excess tillage, our excess use of fungicides, insecticides, and herbicides, and all the sides, because sides means to kill, it's damaging our soil ecosystem. And like you said, I'm not against those tools. We need those tools, but what I'm against, use them foolishly, that hurts our soils. And if we hurt our soils, we hurt our plants, we hurt our animals, we hurt our climate, and we hurt our own human health. Those tools, we have to use them wisely. That's why I came with the term death by tools. We are killing our soils because we still do not understand that the soils are alive. We have to be careful with our tools. That's what I'm getting at.
How would a farmer start down this regenerative ag road, and what's your driving home message for everyone?
Look, first thing is I tell producers, if you want to get down this path, is number one is understand that the soil's alive, and to start to educate yourself and start reading books on soil ecology, soil microbiology. Go to a class like Soil Health Academy. Start learning about the power of life. That's where I start with producers. I get calls from big chemical companies. I get calls from organizations all over the place, and it says, Ray, what's the first thing you start doing? It's teaching the farmer that the soil's an absolute living system. That's how you start first. Understand that it's alive and start educating yourself. And it's ironic. Farmers will spend $200,000 on a tractor, but they won't spend $2,000 or $3,000 to go learn and teach them how to emulate nature and change their life and save them millions for the rest of their life. Isn't that ironic? Education. Education is pivotal. Start reading, start learning, start reading some of these magazines like No Till Magazine where they start talking about biology. It's all over now. And for farmers and ranchers that want to learn more how to mimic nature, it's called soilhealthacademy.org. You can find them online. And the beauty about these groups is that we have farmers and ranchers teaching other farmers and ranchers. And that's the beauty about this, and how to emulate the natural system. So go to soilhealthacademy.org and understandingag.com. Those are great resources. And the last one will be RayTheSoilGuy.LLC.com.
Thanks for being with us today, Ray.
Thank you, Denver, for interviewing me.
We'll be back with more In Ohio Country Today.
Alan Davis, business owner, active farmer. No one knows farmers' needs better than Alan. Give him a call today at 419-738-7447 and talk about total farm protection and more. Alan Davis Insurance Agency is your solutions provider for auto, home, life, business, recreational, total farm protection and more. Call 419-738-7447. That's 419-738-7447. Rodock and Midway Trailers are Ohio's premier Thunder Creek dealers for fuel trailers and DEF delivery systems. Thunder Creek offers versatile, reliable, and best of all, legal transportation and handling for fuel and DEF systems. Let us know how our teams at Midway Trailers in Rodock can get you set up and ready any time of the year. For fuel and service trailers, economy trailers, service and lube trailers, double wall trailers, split tank trailers, bulk DEF trailers, and standalone DEF systems for trucks. Remember Rodock and Midway Trailers, Ohio's premier Thunder Creek dealer, with 3 locations to serve you in Delphus, St. Mary's, and Dayton.
It's a humble idea. Use a biological process to turn a plant into a power source. From that idea came the first Poet refinery. One biorefinery in one town turned into 27 facilities in 27 towns, creating new local jobs, producing hundreds of millions of gallons of ethanol, and providing renewable products around the world. Suddenly, that one little idea seems a whole lot bigger. See the world differently with Poet.
Pushita Creek Steaks, naturally delicious, antibiotic and hormone-free, from fresh grass and grain-fed, free-to-roam cattle. Pushita Creek is a family-owned and operated 210-acre free-range ranch right here in Ohio, and we take the time to custom-fit your order to exactly what you want. For steaks, roasts, hamburger, pet treats, gifts, freezer boxes, and much more, check us out on the web at PushitaCreekSteaks.com. That's PushitaCreekSteaks.com.
Hey, that's going to do it for this week's edition of In Ohio Country Today. For more information, check us out on the web at InOhioCountry.com. We'll have a link to our YouTube page, our Facebook, and our podcast at InOhioCountry.com. Have a good day, everybody.